So look, I know I've been doing the videos for the mocks and I've been doing the free agent targets, which we'll continue to do. I'm looking at tight ends and linemen and stuff like that, but that stuff's not going to matter unless Stephen Jones actually grows a pair and spends money in free agency. Now, this isn't the first time I've talked about Stephen Jones. This isn't the first time that Stephen Jones has been talked about in the Cowboys YouTube space or Twitter space or wherever. It's pretty much universally known that no one likes Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones is one of the most, terrible people when it comes to managing a football roster, and he's just so bad at managing a team, which we'll get into the specifics momentarily with quotes that he recently said, and even when, all that other stuff, it's not good to build the team. So before we get into that, if you guys could do me a small favor and like this video, doesn't take too long to do, and it would be greatly appreciated. Alongside that, I am trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so your subscription would be greatly appreciated. Just hit that big red button at the bottom. And if I hit 10,000 by the end of the year, I will eat 2 of the world's hottest chips. And that's going to be live on air. And finally, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on content like this. Now, the thing with Stephen Jones is that he has really been running the team, I would say, since 2013-14. And the results have been not good. Like, sure, the team has won the division a couple times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And that's 4 postseason appearances. The Cowboys have not appeared as a wild card team. But there has only been 2 playoff victories in that span of time, but none of which involved high-priced free agents or relatively effective free agents. Oh, but Space Cowboy, look what we did this year. I'm going to get to that point because there is a big thing that comes to that. But it's just been this minimal spending. We like our guys bullshit. And then they draft the players. They talk about, you got to pay your own. But then they F up paying their players. Whether they're paying too much, paying a lot more of market value so that he can create excuses, which is another point I'm going to get to. But this is where I want to start off with, okay? So let's start off with last year. So last year, this is when we were talking about extending Dak Prescott, okay? So this is what he said. I know at the end of the day, everyone is out there saying, how have you not paid Dak? At the same time, Dak has to. We've tried to pay him, and he has to accept what we want to pay him. But the deal has to be right for Dak. It has to be right for us. The salary cap makes this a zero-sum game for owners. This is not something where Jerry and myself are trying to save money so the Cowboys can make more money for the Jones family. We're just trying to do our very best, working with Mike, working with Will, to really divide up the pie in the best way possible to win a Super Bowl. There's all sorts of analytics out there that show if your quarterback takes up too big of a percentage of your salary cap, that it decreases your chances to win. We're just trying to figure out the right fit. No one wants to sign Dak to a long-term deal more than Jerry and myself. We're on the record time and time again on what we think of him as a leader. He has the it factor. He's a fierce competitor. He wants to win as well. It's just that we gotta be right for him and right for us. Bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm sick and tired of this shit, and it's not because it's Dak Prescott. It's because if you believe that paying a quarterback is that much of a hassle, then don't pay the quarterback. You don't have to pay the quarterback, even though that would be the dumbest thing you would do, but live by what you say. If you're like, well, you can't really win with a quarterback paying that much money, then don't pay him. Make him walk. But no, you know that if you pay him, then you can create a built-in excuse so that you don't have to spend any money in free agency. And that's exactly what Stephen Jones said. We go further to today. The cap is real, certainly, when you get to paying these quarterbacks. It's a quarterback-driven league. Dak deserves every penny he gets, but once you get into the league with these $40 million quarterbacks, then things have to give and take. One of those things, which is the good news for our organization, we've been a big believer in homegrown talent and bringing it in through the draft. Now, if we could find the right pieces, value pickups, as I like to call them, so you don't have to reach in the draft and you can pick a guy that you don't necessarily have a need for, like a CeeDee Lamb or a Micah Parsons, and don't have to reach for a corner, if you will, or if you were after a defensive lineman, that allows you to go out and pick the best player on the board. which a lot of people preach, but a lot of people don't do it. We want to build our team through the draft. We do think we have a really young team, but we are going to have to make some decisions, tough ones probably. We're not going to be able to keep everybody we'd like to keep in free agency. So this is exactly what the fuck you do. You either don't pay the quarterback and live by your word when you pay the quarterback. Listen, this has nothing to do... If you want to talk about the play on the field, that's another thing. My problem is that Stephen Jones is so goddamn two-headed and two-faced when it comes to this shit. And it pisses me off. Fuck off, Steven. Every single time you're like, oh, we're going to build through the draft. Then guess what? You don't pay your homegrown players, and then when you have to pay them, you pay them over-bloated contracts, whether you agree with it or not. And then you want to be like, well, we're going to have to make some tough decisions because you fucked up, and now you get mad because you have to pay the quarterback $40 million. If your analytics say that, oh, well, we can't pay a quarterback this much money because our chances of winning a Super Bowl go down, then don't pay the quarterback. Listen, guys, this has nothing to do whether you feel Dak is an average quarterback above. We're not here to have that conversation. My point is talking about how Stephen Jones runs the team and how he runs these contracts. If he wants to live by his word, don't pay the quarterback. Then fine, we'll just go every year. We'll go with the quarterback, even if it's like as good as Patrick Mahomes. Well, we got a salary cap. Salary cap is bullshit, people. The salary cap is such a load of bullshit because all you have to do is restructure contracts for players you know you're going to keep. All you got to do is, pay players that you want to keep when their contracts are up so you don't pay them an outrageous sum of money because the market goes up. Here's what's going to happen. CeeDee Lamb's going to come up for his extension. He's going to say some bullshit about CeeDee. Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs are going to come up for their extensions. Okay? They're going to say some bullshit about them. Well, you can't pay all this money to a linebacker. You can't pay all this money for a cornerback. Statistically speaking, listen. My point being is that live by your word. If you want to build through the draft, you know what you do? You get the players in the draft. You keep the good ones by paying them when you know you're going to keep them. And sure, you might fuck up on a couple of them, like Jalen Smith, Ezekiel Elliott. That's okay, right? But if you know you fucked up and you know that there's a problem, don't restructure them if you don't want to keep them. That's my problem, man. You know you're going to keep Dak Prescott because you know if you don't have a quarterback, you're fucked. Plain and simple. Whether you feel that Dak's the guy or not is a whole nother conversation, like I said. But again, don't do this bullshit where you're like, well, when you're paying a quarterback $40 million, you got to give and take. That's BS. There are plenty of teams out there like the Rams that do this crazy bullshit where they'll give up first-round picks. They don't care. They just want to win. They got a good culture with that head coach out there and Sean McVay. They got the quarterback. They got the team. They're not afraid to do that shit. They got Von Miller. They got Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, they can make it work. You see that star-studded team they have out there? Sure, they haven't won a Super Bowl yet, unless they win it this upcoming this next week. But look, my thing I'm trying to get at, if there's anything that I could tell you guys, don't listen to Stephen Jones. He's brainwashing Cowboy fans thinking we can't get these high-end picks. Like, when I say, like, oh, I want these free agents, it's because I'm thinking them for the sake of somewhat of, maybe it's realistic, but also, like, they're legitimate options. Stephen Jones does this bullshit of, oh, well, we got to be able to, go get those value pickups. Bullshit. It's all BS, man. I'm sick and tired of Steven doing this. We lack our guys, and, you need to got those right pieces, as I like to call them. Fuck off with that. Seriously, man. This is why the Cowboys ain't going to do shit. And I mean that. I don't care if anyone wants to give me heat for that. You want to know why the Cowboys aren't going to win a Super Bowl? Probably in the like, I'm 23, right? I'm going to be 24 by the start of next season. They probably won't win a Super Bowl until I'm freaking 30 or 40 because they'll be dead by then. And I know that sounds morbid as hell, but do you really think you're going to win a championship doing this shit unless the players outperform it? Like, come on, man. Come on. Like, listen, man. I'm telling you, the minute that Dak Prescott's ready to leave, I wouldn't be shocked if Dak isn't here in 3 years. I wouldn't. If you feel like you can't win with him, then let him leave. Don't BS yourself, man. But we know we're calling you on your bluff because you need him to keep asses in the stands. If Dak leaves, you're fucked. And that's not me saying that as, I go with whatever the team has. Look, do we really trust this team to get the next quarterback unless they get the first overall pick? Hell no. They're going to luck into someone probably, and they're going to do the same shit. Dak's going to walk, go somewhere else. He might be successful there or maybe not. And then we're going to sit here being like, well, we really wish we had Dak Prescott back because, Dak wasn't that bad. So, look, it's an endless cycle. Don't believe the bullshit he's spinning. And I really wish, and I say this with all due respect, I really wish people in the media pushed harder on these fuckers. Seriously. It's just irritating the hell out of me that all these guys just stroke them. Like, I understand that they have contracts, and I'm not trying to be naive with that. Ask them, you know what, Stephen, you've been doing this for 8 years now. What makes you think this is going to work? Your analytics show that you have not gotten past the second round since 96. 95 if you want to go that far back. So, like, mess me with that. Seriously. Like, come on, man. So, look, media's got to do a better job at pressing these guys. I would really love for someone to call, because there was a video where I was going to show where, like, Jerry got pressed hard years ago about, like, well, you guys have only won one playoff game, and Jerry wants to be like, well, I did win 3 Super Bowls, so I think I know what I'm doing. Get the hell out of here. Look, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Listen, Steven's got to really grow a pair and do his goddamn job. But we know he won't because he's that much of a pussy, and he really hates players that ask for their pie. So, let me tell you something and I'll leave you with this thought. If Amari Cooper and DeMarcus Lawrence left, would I be mad? No, in the sense of I understand, like, hey, listen, if you got to move on, that's fine. This is the part where I get upset about. How are you going to resolve that, Steven? Are you going to spend money? Are you going to, are you going to do anything with that? And if his reply is the same, which it will always be every single year, this team will forever be in purgatory. And I hate being that guy. Unless they really do something this offseason where they prove me wrong and they sign these free agents and stuff like that, or bring some guys back where I'm like, they ain't winning shit next year. They might win the division. They probably will. I'm not saying that they're a shitty team. I want to make that emphatically clear. Look at the teams that win the championship. They make the best moves. Plain and simple. This is not a question. My thing is look, we just got to really understand, like, as a team, we shouldn't be nervous to build. If we got to get rid of Dak to make this a Super Bowl team, or if that means we get a Super Bowl, I'm cool with that. But live by your word. That's all I'm going to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.